Welcome to Nature Calls, Conversations from the Hudson Valley. Our team's goal is to present science-based information about gardening and all things nature in New York's Hudson Valley. Our hosts are Master Gardener Volunteers for the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Columbia and Greene counties, midpoint along the Hudson River Valley. So if you're interested in gardening or nature or just nuggets of information about what's happening outside your door, listen in and enjoy the conversation. Whatever the season, we'll always have something to talk about.
Hi, I'm Tim Kennelty.
And I'm Jean Thomas.
And welcome to Nature Calls, Conversations from the Hudson Valley.
Today, our guest is Nicole Schmitt of Hannacroix Hills Farm, and we're going to be talking about how to manage a multifaceted farm operation on a small scale. Welcome, Nicole.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. So tell us, as a farm owner, you have a 10 acres and 1830s farmhouse in Greene County. Tell us how you got into this.
Kind of by accident.
Oh, my goodness.
No.
How does one get into a farm by accident? You kind of got dropped off or something at the farm?
No. I lived in suburbia for quite a while, and it just wasn't cutting it. I felt the need to have more space and really became more consciously aware of the food I was eating and what was available to me and the rights of animals, and wanted to make that decision to raise my own food.
So what kind of animals do you raise?
So we have a herd of Nubian dairy goats.
I love goats.
They're not the fainting ones, are they?
No, they're the ones with the nice long floppy ears.
Well, and what makes them Nubian? Are they?
That's the breed.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have a herd of dairy goats. We have egg layer chicken. And then we also raise hogs through our woodlands. And then we also raise meat birds, so chickens and turkeys.
Wow, I have so many questions already.
I know where to start.
So when you say dairy goats, you just raise them. You don't raise them for meat. You raise them for what, cheese and yogurt and milk? And do you sell those products as well?
Unfortunately, we don't. So the rules and regulations, the laws around dairy are incredibly strict. So we raise the goats simply for our own personal consumption. But I will say that none of it goes to waste. Between us drinking the milk, making cheese, butter, and all sorts of goodies at our home, any surplus actually goes to the pigs because it's incredibly nutrient dense and high in fat content. So it's very good to supplement their diet.
So it's not like you're selling goat milk at a farmer's market.
No.
They're there for you.
They're there for us, yes.
Okay, now I have many pig questions. How about you, Jane?
Well, I want to know if you eat your goats.
We do not, but we do sell the babies after the kidding, most often for forage projects. So for children that want to show goats at the fair. Yeah.
All right.
I had understood that you have free-range pigs, which I've never heard of. Tell me about free-range. Are they really free-range pigs?
They're not. They have fences, right? Good fences.
But they run around. They're not in some little pen or something like that, right?
No, they're in a pretty expansive pen, and it goes through our woodlands. So they have plenty of space to waddle around and forage and really spread out.
And tell us what you use the pigs for.
Yeah, they are for meat.
Okay.
But wait a minute, you use them to stir up the soil and fertilize it too before you make a meat.
Oh, 100%. They are fantastic soil disruptors.
What does that mean? I mean, I understand what disruptor means, but what do they dig?
They do. So they use their snoot, and they really do a good job to tear up the soil. So at our farm, we practice no-till or at least low-till processes. The pigs do a really good job at disrupting just the top couple inches of the soil, which breaks it up and allows us to amend in the compost naturally.
And you feed your pigs, you were talking about, you feed kind of whatever extra you have from the goats. What else do the pigs eat?
So we do source grain locally, and it is all locally milled and produced right here in the Hudson Valley.
I mean, are the pigs certified organic? Is that a thing, or is that? not a thing?
It is a thing, but we are not a certified organic farm because, again, the amount of regulations, the cost associated with getting those certifications. But we are committed to utilizing non-GMO and organic grains, and then everything that they eat coming off our farm has nothing added to it. And we don't use any pesticides or herbicides on our farm at all.
So, I mean, to some extent they are, but they're not certified organic. But
Correct.
they are organic. You sell their meat, or do you just consume their meat yourselves?
No, we do sell the hogs. We sell the hogs both as half and whole shares, where you commit to buying a half of a hog or a whole hog worth of meat. And then we go through and work together to customize the way you would want it butchered and packaged.
So it's not like you're selling bacon, you're selling the half of the hog.
Yeah, so that's the way we've been doing it in the past, and we're going to continue to do those shares. But we are also now raising a couple of the hogs that we will be taking to a USDA processor so that they can process them and we can sell individual cuts of meat at our farmers markets.
And is there a particular breed of pig that you have, or is that not a thing?
It definitely is a thing, but we actually prefer crosses. So
And why is that?
I just feel like they're a little hardier.
It's like mutt dogs that are hardier. Yes, is that crazy?
Yeah, essentially. And also, each type of breed has its own particular characteristics, right? So you've got, for example, some that are long and leaner naturally by breed, and you have some that are fattier by breed. And so having that cross kind of helps get you the best of both worlds.
And you said they're foraging pigs. It's not like they're digging for truffles, right? I mean, they're basically aerating the land, right?
Yeah. Truffles, no, but they will eat pretty much anything that they can find.
Okay.
Do you give them, like, I know you have a neighbor who, well, he's not a brewer anymore, but do you use the leftover grain and stuff that they use in their fermentation?
We are not, only because I really want to control what they are eating.
Okay, because that does vary. Yeah.
It does. But like when we talk about foraging, for example, we have black walnut trees on our property, and those pigs go crazy for those black
Nobody
walnuts.
likes black walnuts, right? You mean the black walnuts themselves? Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and acorns and all sorts of nuts and forage that they can find in the woods. They love
They
it.
eat poison ivy.
No, but the goats do.
Okay, I knew the goats did.
Yeah, the goats will eat
Yeah.
anything, really more than anything, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, they'll eat invasive plants and stuff. Do you do anything with the goat? I'm on to goats now, but do you use them to control invasives and all? I know a lot of people are starting to do that.
We do allow them to come out and graze in a controlled fashion. I don't need them in my flower field,
Okay.
but they do like to graze. They've really done a number on our blackberry bushes and our grapevines. One of the things that we do grow specifically for the goats and the hogs is comfrey, and it is
Comfrey.
a fantastic
I've got
herb.
some. I'll bring mine over. It's
And
terrible to eat.
They eat the comfrey,
We
really?
love it.
Because nobody eats comfrey, right? I mean, the deer don't eat comfrey, do they?
No,
Yeah.
but they love it.
Yeah, it's the texture. They must floss with it. That's probably it.
I mean, I know you're raising the pigs for meat. Do you get attached to the pigs? Because they're very smart animals, right? I mean, do you get attached? Is that a crazy question?
Admit it.
You do. But you have to separate it, right? Like that was a conscious decision that we made as we started farming, that we know that we are giving them the very best life up until that final second.
How long do you have one? You buy a baby piggy?
Yes.
And then when do you send it off to market?
It's only about 6 months.
Yeah, I know they're pretty quick in this.
Yeah, pigs are pretty fast.
And you don't do your own butchering.
We do not. Not
That's
for
a good
not
thing.
for the hogs.
But do you really buy a baby pig, or are your pigs breeding? And
We are not currently
No.
breeding them. We do work with a local farm that does breed them to get the babies as soon as they're weaned.
oh, so you do is when you say kind of they're a blend of different pig breeds. So you're actually choosing the different species or breeds that interbred. What am I
Yeah.
talking about?
We're going on a farm visit soon.
Yeah, I took world agriculture in college. You know, I went to farms, but I don't know anything obviously about them. So talk about the goats. I mean, the goats have real personalities, don't they?
They do. They do. They're fantastic. And in fact, we have one little buckling that was born last year. He didn't come into the world in a very easy way. He needed some intervention to be born, and then his mother rejected him. So we raised him in the house for the first 3
And
months of his life.
It's like a little movie, a little Disney movie.
Dr. Doolittle.
And so we bottle fed him,
Uh-huh.
and he follows us everywhere. So we named him Shadow.
Oh, that's great. He doesn't live in the house now, does he?
Not anymore,
Okay.
no.
So how did he integrate back into the herd once he was in your house?
Actually, really well.
Really?
But we had several goats that were born around the same time. So we did socialize him, even though he was living in the house. He'd spend playtime out in the barn. But he was being hand fed and with a bottle. So he was in the house for much of it.
And play dates. Isn't that special?
Wow, I like that.
I love it.
So I know we had Peter Payton on to talk about he raised goats, and I think to some extent it's you don't want to have too many males, right? I mean the males. There's a whole thing about that, right?
Well, it's how many males do you need?
Right.
Right?
Well, period. Right. Even in the world, right? Probably too many.
Right? One male goat can service a lot of female goats.
So do you sell your males if you have too many males?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
So you really want to have more female goats, especially because you're milking them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the same time, though, having multiple males is allowing us to diversify the genetics of our herd, which is important.
And they're a little bit more aggressive, yes?
Well, they can get a little rowdy during mating season.
But who does?
But who cares? What is wrong with us, really? What should we turn to? Chickens.
I want to go back to chickens. Now you have
Okay.
egg chickens and meat chickens.
Yeah.
And you said like you have many, many chickens, right?
Yeah, our egg layer flock is about 70
That's a
70 hens.
But
yeah.
now wait a minute. Doesn't an egg layer have a certain productive lifespan before they become a meat chicken?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't make them pets, right?
Again, chickens have such amazing personalities.
True.
And we've had some of these hens for years.
really.
Yeah. And while their production slows down, they're also very good protectors. They get broody still.
Guard
So they
chickens.
protect the younger chickens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
And-
buy that.
And does their egg production slow down in the winter as well?
It does. Yeah. So the daylight
Right.
is really the contributing factor. It's not so much the cold as it is the daylight hours.
Now, they protect the younger chickens, but I've also heard stories about chickens being like very nasty to ones that are weaker. Is that not true?
We haven't experienced that on our farm with
Nice farm, yeah.
with the exception of a couple of the roosters.
Pecking order is a real thing.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely is.
It absolutely is, yeah.
So if somebody's injured or something, they might pick on them, yes?
Yeah, but that's where the flock management comes into play. So we are out with our animals every day observing what's going on. And if we see one that's injured, they go into quarantine.
Okay.
And same thing when we bring in new birds into the flock, we are quarantining them away from the flock and then integrating them slowly where they can see each other but can't get to each other.
You must produce a large number of eggs. How does that work? I mean, did somebody go out and collect those eggs? You have 50 chickens?
We collect eggs twice a day.
Uh-huh.
And I will say that we can never have enough. We sell out of eggs every
You do,
week.
really?
Every week.
And where do you sell?
The farmers markets that we participate in, we also have several neighbors that just call us and say, hey, I need some eggs, and drop by to pick up some eggs. And then if we do find that we have surplus, we have a couple of other farm stands that always welcome in local eggs.
And are there particular breeds that you have of chickens?
Chicken math is real, and there are hundreds of varieties of chickens, and I like them all.
Do you have pictures of them all?
But there are some that are better egg layers, right? There's some that are different demeanors and things like that, right? How do you choose a breed? I mean, I remember I was thinking about raising chickens, and there's all kinds.
You weren't listening, Tim. She doesn't choose.
I don't choose.
Not at all.
He just takes them all in.
Pretty much take them all.
But so you're like farm sanctuary, yes? It's not really a farm; it's a farm sanctuary, right?
We have several different varieties. I really like the cold hardy ones, right? Because we do get pretty cold, and we don't heat our coops.
Well, you don't, okay?
No. So we have everything from the Americanas, which lay really beautiful blue eggs.
Ah,
Martha has those.
We have Easter eggers that lay
want some blue.
some green egg. And then we have the Polish ones that have the puffs of hair on top. There's so many fun varieties.
And do you buy chickens young, or do you breed them yourselves as well?
Both.
Okay.
So we will bring in new chicks every year as what they call day-old chicks
Do you get them in
from
the
the
nail?
hatchery. We do. The stuffest loves it.
They call you.
Yeah, oh, they call us bass. So we order in day-old chicks every year, but then we do also incubate and allow Mother Nature to take her
Oh.
course and allow some of our eggs that are fertile to hatch out.
So if you have a bunch of different breeds, you must have some strange looking chickens there as well.
But it's a colorful flock.
Yeah, very nice.
I think that was an admission. Among the other special things you do for your chickens, you were telling me a story about how you do microgreens, and when you finish the microgreens, you snip off all the little leafies at the top, and then you have this strip of soil with a whole bunch of roots in it.
There's not even any soil, so we
Not
do it
even-
all
oh,
hydroponically.
even better.
Yeah, so it's called fodder for animals, and we typically use oats. So we buy a 50-pound bag of oat seed from the farm store, and every week we start a new batch of fodder by soaking the seeds and then growing them by rinsing them, and it's the same concept as microgreens. And so we can certainly eat microgreens if we wanted to, but we take this whole tray of baby sprouts that's just a mat of the roots and the green shoots and feed that out to the chickens and goats in the winter so that they have fresh greens all year long, even if there's snow on the ground.
And it's a party, huh?
Oh, it is. They go crazy for it. It's fun.
So I know we talked a little bit about organic certification. They're not organically certified, but they're pretty organic, it sounds like, if you're feeding all those different things.
Yeah. So again, they get vegetable scraps coming out of my kitchen. They get any kind of garden surplus. It's important to note chickens are not vegetarian. So when you see packages of eggs that say fed a vegetarian diet, that's not
No
natural,
such thing.
right? It's not.
They eat
love
worms, don't they?
worms, insects, bugs. That's another aspect of the IPM that we have for our flower field and our garden. Any cabbage worms, hornworms, any of the slugs that we find, they become chicken food.
I know people are obsessed with jumping worms. They do eat jumping worms too, don't they?
They will eat any.
Yeah.
But you let them loose in the rows in the fields once the plants are big enough to defend themselves?
No. So they don't have access to the flower field, except for at the very end of the season, we will put up a netting to contain them within there, and then we let them scratch through to find insects
Okay.
and kind of clean it out a little bit, and then they go back into their pasture with the goats.
So they come out for another party.
Yeah.
I want to be one of her chickens.
You probably do. How about disease? I mean, it's a big thing now as far as in the news. And I mean, what do you do to prevent disease, and what do you do to kind of like realize something's happening early on?
Yeah. So again, it's really the flock management. We are out there every day observing, seeing what is happening with the animals, looking for signs of bird influenza, and really monitoring the flock, looking for parasites or visual signs of infestations. It really comes down to maintaining a good, clean, working farm, cleaning the coops, making sure they always have access to fresh, clean water. We use oregano inside the water, which is a natural enhancement for them.
How many people do you have working on the farm? It sounds like a lot of work. I'm tired.
Yeah, it is just myself and my partner.
Oh my goodness.
That's a classic farm. You never stop.
Yeah.
You do not.
Wow, that's really great. And you enjoy it a huge amount, I assume.
100%. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah.
And in your spare time, tell us about the Kokosaki Farmers Market that you have taken over as the manager. In your spare time.
What at midnight, or what happens?
Pretty much. I don't like to rest.
Clearly.
Koksaki is our home community, right? We are right between Greenville and Koksaki, and the Koksaki market is a fantastic place to go down, enjoy the evening on the riverfront, mingle with other community members, pick up some great food and drinks and local produce. And when the manager was stepping down, I kind of felt it pulling at my heartstrings that I had to get involved to make sure that this event continues.
And how frequent is it?
It's every week, Wednesday evenings from 4 to 7.
And how many vendors approximately?
So there's probably about 15 vendors, but we always have a live entertainer,
Right.
a musician. We have a food truck. Yeah, different food trucks locally down there. So it is a good time.
So Wednesday night's kind of good because a lot of farmers markets are on the weekend, right? So you must get people who are around and want to do it Wednesday night.
Yeah, and it's also a great night to just midweek unwind.
And the Sloop Clearwater stops by once a year.
Yep, so
All
the sloop
kinds of cool
the
stuff.
sloop Clearwater is there. Last year we had the Witches Along the Hudson
Mm.
do a performance. The Coxsackie Athens Community Band is playing opening night. So there's a
Cool.
lot of great stuff
Morris
happening.
dancers once in a while. Mhm.
And you're a vendor too, right? I mean, I assume you sell your flowers from your flower market, but also your eggs, right?
So, yes. So, we are a vendor there. We have our fresh cut bouquets. That's one of the pickup locations as well for our CSA. We have our eggs, our fresh chickens, and then also the maple syrup that's produced off our farm
How come you don't do honey?
because I'm allergic to bees.
Okay, I knew there had to be a reason, or you would have been doing it.
I was going to say, what doesn't she do,
Oh,
really?
we know. Now we know. Okay, I've got a last question for you, and it's not the Tim question
Okay,
because
that's okay.
last time we talked, we
Yeah.
did the Tim question. So my question is this. What changes would you like to see in the next decade?
If I have to pick something that I want the community to really change and evolve, it would be to put the emphasis on shopping local. It not being a tagline for the day after Black Friday, but to be something that they're committed to year round, because it's really how we continue to build a strong community, inspire our entrepreneurs, and build a local economy back up. The money that is spent with local farms, businesses, and artisans stays local. It's really, it's how we pay for our, my daughter's dance lessons, for example, right? So that money stays locally, and it might cost a little bit more to your pocket, but at the end of the day, I think it's definitely worth building that strong community.
I like that.
That's great.
I'd rather have the money stay here than go to a corporation. Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks a lot. We learned so much. And thanks for answering my stupid farm questions.
No problem. I could talk about farming all day long.
We'll have you back then.
All right. Thank you.
And thanks to our listeners.
That concludes another episode of Nature Calls, Conversations from the Hudson Valley. We would like to thank Xandra Powers and Devin Connolly from the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Columbia and Greene Counties for production support. And a special thanks to our listeners for joining us on this episode of Nature Calls, Conversations from the Hudson Valley. You can find links to any of the topics mentioned in this episode at our website at ccecolumbiagreen.org. Comments and suggestions for future topics may be directed to us at columbiagreenmgv@cornell.edu or on the CCE Master Gardener Volunteers of Columbia and Greene Facebook page. For more information about CCE of Columbia and Greene, visit our website or visit in person during business hours at our campuses in Hudson or Acre. Cornell Cooperative Extension provides equal programming and educational opportunities.